Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NOLAnerdcast's review of X-Men Apocalypse, brought to you by the Grand Theater in Esplanade. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And we are here to break down one of the more divisive X-Men movies.
Shockingly.
You know what's weird? Is that this is the first movie that's actually been divisive.
Mm-hmm.
It's either people love it or they hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's either X2 and Days of Future Past and First Class level, or it's Wolverine Origins X3 level.
Yeah.
You know, there's like very little middle ground. This is the first one where some people love it, some people hate it. There's very few meh.
That's true. I think it's very interesting because this movie, in terms of the X-Men trilogies that they've done, the third one for the first trilogy was pretty awful.
One of the worst final movies of all time.
So this one is better than that. It does a lot of things right. It takes the status quo change from Days of Future Past. It sets us up for a new future setting, and it really works in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's also really long.
It's long and jam-packed.
It's full.
And that for me, that works to its favor because I'm never going to be against seeing more mutants on screen if they're done well. And unlike X3, the mutants that they put into this movie were done well. Nightcrawler, excellent. Angel, didn't have much to say, but was represented well. Psylocke, good for living man. Caliban, of all people.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Jubilee was the only one shafted, but not really because her scenes were cut, so they'll still be on the Blu-ray. They just weren't in theater. So I'm not even counting Jubilee as a loss.
It's kind of a very similar movie to X3 in which there are a lot of mutants with no visible powers kind of running around. And there's also a couple of named mutants we've never seen before doing stuff. And, we have Apocalypse in this one.
We do.
And I think...
And my boy Poe Dameron stealing the show.
Oscar Isaacs.
Oscar Isaacs is great.
My favorite part about Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse is he does a big dumb Apocalypse speech.
I know. You love that. Which is so Chris Claremont-y X-Men 90s TV show. Yeah. Which is what this movie felt like. A live-action 90s cartoon / 80s Claremont book come to life.
Yeah. It's got big stakes. It's got high drama. It's got action. It's got the whole thing.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about the returning cast? We've got James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender reprising Magneto and Xavier. And right off the bat, when they showed Magneto, we're trying to avoid spoilers, but they open up with him with a new wife and child. And you know how that's going to end. And it's not going to end well.
You would have to be dumb not to.
And then we also see how Xavier loses his hair. And so now we've come full circle, and now he's the Professor X we know.
Yeah,
we get the introduction to the Danger Room, the Cerebro we know and love. Like we're positioning ourselves to becoming the X-Men that we know.
Yeah, you know what kills me is that we've had 8 of these movies. Mm-hmm. We've not had one full real Danger Room sequence.
We have not.
But
you know what? I feel like we will get one now because we've finally taken 8 movies, but we finally got Cyclops' 90s. Blue and white, yellow.
Now we're ready to go into the 90s.
Fox has finally realized that what made Marvel movies so popular. Embrace the comic bookness.
Yeah.
Don't dilute it like they did with the original trilogy.
No. And one of the things I've really liked with this trilogy is that it's been taken decade by decade. First Class was the 60s,
70s, and now we're in the 80s.
Yeah. So I
Even
really
though Havoc has aged very well for being in his mid-30s.
Probably older.
Well, he was like a teenager in First Class.
Yeah,
so 20 years later, he'd be in his mid-30s.
So ideally, he'd be close to 40.
Or early, if he was 15, so he's mid.
Still.
I know, yeah, that's fine. I
will say, though, that James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, they showed flashbacks to First Class.
They have
aged.
Yeah, 6 years has not been kind.
And it's one of those subtle things that you don't notice until you see old them.
Right, it's weird. Jennifer Lawrence was great.
I actually thought Jennifer Lawrence couldn't be bothered to be in this movie.
You think?
I felt like she was very disinterested, and there have been reports from the set that she was not thrilled to be there, and she didn't do a lot of makeup, which is why she's mostly Jennifer Lawrence for the whole movie. But I got the sense that she was very disinterested in this whole process.
I didn't catch that, but
I mean, it's one of those things where it's hard to tell whether it's Mystique or it's really just Jennifer Lawrence, just like Yeah, I guess I'll be Mystique.
That's fair. She won't come again.
Probably not.
Speaking of a surprise for me, was that Hank McCoy Beast was not the catalyst of screwing everything up for once.
It's a nice change of pace. Although...
No.
Yeah, I can't find anything to blame on it.
Yeah, he didn't do it this time.
No. Yeah.
And then the New Mutants, you've got Sophie Turner of Game of Thrones fame as Jean Grey. Then you've got Baby Cyclops.
Ty Sheridan.
My favorite is Nightcrawler. He was really good.
Cody Smith McPhee. Here's the thing. Nightcrawler is the mutant I think everyone wants the most to be in these movies.
Yeah, because he stole the show in X2.
He did, and he's great. And Cody Smith McPhee is not Alan Cumming, but he's still really good.
But I think they pulled a Spider-Man role, and they wanted him to be one of the new students, so they de-aged him.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying he's not Alan Cumming.
No, I'm saying why, for me, he works so well.
Well, yeah.
Because he's
still good. He's just not Alan Cumming.
Foreign. Well, yeah, of course. No one could be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What about Alexandra Shipp as Storm?
She's fine. She didn't really have a ton to do.
Yeah, she did not get to do a soliloquy. She called down the lightning.
No, she was okay. She didn't have a lot to do. Actually, Sophie Turner, she didn't really have a ton to do until the very end, and I thought she did really well with what she had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ty Sheridan was pretty good as Cyclops.
Yeah.
But Cyclops is such a thankless role.
I know. The MCU, the movie universe gives no thanks to Cyclops.
No, and you know what? It's the way Cyclops is written, and it's just the way Cyclops is. It just doesn't translate well to film.
And even though it kills me that this is not a spoiler because they ruined it in the trailer, the Wolverine sequence puts the X2 school Wolverine sequence to shame.
It's really good.
It is very good.
And you know what? I love that we got the dumb Weapon X helmet, the whole Wolverine at his most cracked out dangerousness.
And the birth of his love with Jean Grey.
Yeah, well, that happens.
I love that they set all this stuff up.
There's two things about that scene I want to mention. Number one is that Hugh Jackman
needs to be Old Man Logan.
If he's not Old Man Logan, what are we even doing with ourselves? Because he's starting to look tired, and you can only do so much weightlifting before it catches up to you.
Yeah.
Number two, the scene where he runs off into the woods is maybe one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I just expect him to go woo 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 woo.
Yeah, and especially like this big I gave him a little bit of his memories, and he's off into the wilderness. It's just Hugh Jackman jogging in shorts.
I know it's
kind of silly, but I love it.
For the final fight scene against Apocalypse and his crew was amazing.
Well, it is
visually
amazing.
And just all the mutants using their powers.
It is amazing. Some people get shafted because Magneto doesn't really do a ton.
True. But you know who does?
Who?
Quicksilver. Once again, proven to be one of the best castings.
Quicksilver has a great sequence. He has
two this time.
He has two sequences. His first sequence at the mansion, I don't think is as good as his scene in Days of Future Past.
That's fair. I'm going to disagree.
Yeah.
I think this one was very good, and it once again,
it is
perfectly paired with the sound.
And I think the fight he has with Apocalypse is really good. I think Psylocke is very underappreciated in this movie because she has cool stuff to do. She just doesn't get a chance to do it.
Exactly.
And
when she does do cool stuff, good for her.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm quite fond of Olivia Munn from way back in the day. So seeing her in a big time movie
in a ninja bathing suit,
in a ninja bathing suit in a big time movie is very kind of nice to see. But she didn't have a lot to do, so we don't really get a grasp of it.
Not yet.
It's more that they hired her because she looks like Psylocke, as opposed to her being a really great actress. For
True,
Psylocke.
But the fact that I'm pretty sure she'll show up again makes me happy.
If they make this X-Force movie they're speaking about, she'll definitely be in it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Storm.
What else?
Storm was all right. My main problems are it's way too long. It's over 2 hours.
That's standard now, though.
Doesn't mean I have to like it.
I love it.
And I will...
Because again, you say it's too long, but you always, for some reason, are much more susceptible to noticing that.
Yeah.
Where, for me, if I'm getting really into a movie, I don't notice that at all.
Well, maybe that's the fault of the movie, that I didn't get more into it. I'm just saying is that when the movie is good, I don't notice the time. And when it's kind of boring, I notice it.
So Apocalypse was boring?
I said kind of boring. It's too long.
That's fair. For you.
Yeah. I think the acting is good. I think Apocalypse was really great. Oscar Isaac does an amazing job.
Oh yeah. Remember when everyone was complaining about his casting and makeup, saying he looked like the dude from Power Rangers?
Ivan Ooze. Yeah, I see it, but
no, it's because
it works
that
better
one
in
picture
action.
made him look purple rather than blue.
Yeah. It works better in action.
Yeah.
And I think the way he, especially when he comes into the modern era and how he handles that is
well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just really enjoyed it. I thought the action was really well done. There was enough humor interspersed to keep it light enough. Shockingly violent for X-Men movies, especially the opening sequence in ancient Egypt.
Crushing people.
I thought everyone was cast very well. I didn't think there was a single person where I was like, why are they in this movie? Overall, I just really enjoyed it. So I'm in the camp of pro-apocalypse.
I'm pro-apocalypse too.
So why don't we end it? Tell us your rating and will you buy it?
I will probably give it about an 8.5. I think it's too long, but I think it's a very good culmination of the previous two movies. I'm probably not going to buy it though, unless they make like a big Xbox set. But even then, I don't know.
An Xbox set?
An Xbox set.
What about Xbox One set?
No.
What about 360 set?
Nah, because here's the thing: if I get an X1 set,
mm-hmm.
it's going to contain X3. And
I
can't get rid of it.
But they'll probably do a trilogy of these with First Class.
That might be worth it.
Days of Future Past and Apocalypse.
That might be worth it
because they did it with the first three. Yeah. So, I give it a 9. I just really enjoyed it. It's just it's fluff. It's like Batman vs Superman. It's very divisive, but unlike Batman vs Superman, there's a lot of fun, and you can feel the cartoon and Claremont inspirations on this. And it was just a fun ride. I'm looking forward to watching it again when it comes out so I can see the Jubilee scenes. Other than that, definitely buying it. So, I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks again to the Grand Theater and Esplanade. That's about wraps it up.
We'll probably be back for TMNT too?
Yep.
Or Popstar Never Stop Stopping?
Both.
Okay, well, we'll see.
All right, bye.
Bye.